I would like to start with today is I am thinking that we are going to start a course, and every time that I start a course in the university or in something, I always like to start hearing about what brought the people to this course. So I am going to start presenting myself and why am I here. So my name is Juan Carlos Bell. I'm from Colombia. I'm the younger brother of five brothers. Um, After I graduated from college, I started studying philosophy. I studied 2 years of philosophy, and then I changed to political sciences. And after I graduated from political sciences, I continued studying a specialization in environmental law. And then I made a master's degree in conflict management. Um, Always, all the people asked me, like, why did you study all that? Because it's not related. And right now, I feel that it's all very related, and that I am like putting into practice all of my studies here in the TEC and looking for the gravity training. I have worked in two universities in my life. One was public and the other one was private. And I always worked like in the administrative side of planning courses and like planning the courses of the faculties. So for me, it's like very exciting to be doing my first course on my own, and like not in a university, but like here in the TEC. That for me is very amazing. And I feel that I am working also for something that can be of social good, and that also motivates me a lot. So I am really happy to be here, and I think that all the turnouts of my life has just like brought me to these calls and to see what we can build from here. And I will pass it, and I want to pass it to Jess.
I'm sorry, you just want me to say my background and how I got here?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it all started. I grew up in Florida and I have a journalism background. So I've done a lot of different jobs and played a lot of different characters. I was a waitress. I washed dishes. I worked as a teller in a bank. I taught at kindergarten, yoga teacher, then marketing for a software company, then crypto and blockchain. But most of my time I did 10 years in broadcast news in the US. That was very interesting. I also like you, I studied political science as well as my journalism. So yeah, and I left the US and lived abroad for the last 10 years. So I lived in Germany, Japan, Thailand, Norway, Ecuador, and just have been very nomadic. And I joined the Common Stack last year because I felt like out of all the projects I've seen, it was for me like one of the most highest leverage things that we could be doing is building this library of knowledge and sharing all these resources so that we can coordinate better and build economies around solving its biggest challenges. And from what I've seen, a lot of failings is the lack of diversity in these communities and the lack of acknowledging the culture. So when I saw that Livia was going to be developing this with TEC, she and Griff pulled me in and wanted me to help and support with communications. So yeah, I guess for me, I didn't really realize until the last week or two some of the huge value, that's being created within this community, and it's being reflected in many ways. And I'm happy, Juan, to see you like coming like that. This is emerging. It's all very emergent and it's all very complementary. And I see people like finding their niche almost. And for me, this suits so well. And it seems you're, the perfect person to carry this along with Livy. So I'm very happy that you are leading these efforts, both of you. So with that, I will pass to Livia. Thanks for, really carrying the flag for the culture.
Wow, that feels like such a hard question to bring to describe myself and what I've been doing. It's really interesting actually to hear. I'm curious to hear from all of you, so thanks for asking that. So yeah, I am Brazilian. I started to do acting when I was 11. That was my first profession, I guess, and I did that for most of my life in theater and film and performance art, and I eventually moved more towards performance because it was my language, and then through that I always liked a lot to work with behavior, to like kind of propose things and see what would be people's behaviors, and to understand this relationship and what people's reaction would change into my intention, and have this like constant feedback loop into it. And I also did a little bit of fashion design and gastronomy, and I don't know, I got involved into many like wanting to express myself type of things. And then at some point I had a cinema project that we lived in a van, me and my partner, and we showed independent Brazilian movies in cities that didn't have movie theaters, and we did that for a while. And then when I was living in Cairo, now I started a circle for authentic communication, because it's not so easy, especially in places that have like a lot of topics that are taboo, to talk about them. So we would have the circles and talk a lot about a lot of things, and we used a lot of nonviolent communication and some facilitation tools to guide these conversations. That was very interesting. I started in crypto maybe like 4 years ago, and building communities. I managed like 8 communities, and then I moved to DAO Stack with the Genesis DAO community, and then now I'm with Common Stack, really happy about that, and with the TEC, seeing all of this development, and it is like very, very fulfilling to be in this community and see so much value being created, like Jess said. Sorry if I was too long, and I'll pass to Zaptimus.
Thank you, Livy. Wow, that's really tough question. I think I started life like following like my parents will somehow, like grow up, go study. I study business management, even if I don't enjoy it. Like I wanted to do, I don't know how it's in English, but when you teach kids to, teaching kids like to grow in the school, in the garden. But yeah, I did business management, and then I started to work. I was working on a bank, but then I decided, wow, that's not for me. After 2 years, I was like, okay, that's not for me. And I was involving like actually into the crypto space. Even if I was not in there, I was almost since the beginning. I'm not beginning, but here in my village, Sam and his friends were building. They were working on a project called Dark Wallet. And yeah, there was a lot of people in here, and I remember one guy who was telling me about like the the stuff that people in the bank is doing. Like, for example, you don't have money to pay your house, then you get kicked and stuff like that. And I was like, that's bad. And yeah, I mean, I was keep working, but at that moment, but yeah, then I really changed. And I don't know. Then I started to work as account manager for a small company in Igualada. Yeah, I was always doing something, but I also did a lot of gaming, competitive. I also reached, like, I was captain of Spain Heroes of the Store team. That was really fun, and what I really like it about games, it's like, no matter who you are, like, you are behind the screen, no matter who you are, if you show you're good, then you do something, and that really catch me up, and I invest a lot of time in there. And yeah, and then I'm here, and yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'll pass it to Jake.
Did you just say me? Okay. Wow, guys, I really don't know about this one. I kind of wonder, like, well, maybe I should probably have a disclaimer. Wow. I grew up on a cattle ranch in southwest Montana. It was actually one of the largest ranches in all of Montana. In fact, the Black Angus beef that Charlie Yonkin raised actually was the best in the country. People would come from all over, I mean, Western Canada to Texas to try and buy bulls. It was quite an experience because the place was just gorgeous. There in southwest Montana, nestled in the Gallatin County. Well, it was only about an hour northeast of West Yellowstone, and it was pretty epic. It was, it really was an incredible place to be a kid. Hey, Zayden. Hey, be nice to Darth Vader, okay? Yeah. Anyways, I've been working since I was probably 4 years old. Because that's just the way it was, and you're a little kid out there, you're going to go to work. I was 5 out in a field with my sister, up to our chest in wet grass in early spring, moving irrigation line, and conflict management. People have been yelling at me since I was a little kid because it's kind of funny, because in school, I didn't like school. I did well in it, but I didn't like it. I didn't go a lot. I got kicked out. I didn't finish high school. They gave me the boot my senior year. I was a bit of a problem. I did a lot of bad things, like when you're young and you don't have the best family, kind of normal stuff. I kind of got involved in things you might call illegal, and that was an interesting road. I've been to jail once or twice. Okay, though, I'm all right. What else happened? And then I ended up eventually, after all of that died down, unfortunately, I didn't end up dead or in prison. I ended up in the oil industry, which was another great place for a guy to be. And more people just yelled at you. Conflict resolution. Our idea of conflict resolution was yelling louder. Oh man, I did that, which was crazy because once I started down that road, I never thought I'd do it as long as I did. In 15 years, and I still sit here shocked now that I'm in Costa Rica, talking to people on my computer, like that it even happened. Like, it's crazy. And that's an entire life on its own. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. I've had 3 lives so far, from the ranch and drugs and guns to the oil field, and now I'm doing this in Costa Rica, and it's just mind-blowing. Yeah, I don't have university skills. I will say though, I had an interesting life because my dad he had a master's degree in philosophy. He wanted a PhD, but at the time Berkeley didn't give them. He was a part of the civil rights movement. He used to give speeches. He was at Berkeley with Jane Fonda. He remembers when Nixon gave the order as the governor of California to storm the university and let out the dogs and everything. He had quite a life, and then he ended up in Eugene, Oregon as a duck, and he got a degree in ecology. And he spent 30 years with the Forest Service in Montana. And he did what he wanted to do. He loved trees. But that was a weird dad because we didn't play baseball or football. He liked to listen to Miles Davis and read Wittgenstein. And he had really strange conversations with, like, you know, I was young learning about odd things. So that's actually a good precursor to other stuff. What else to say? I don't know, guys. I should probably write a book someday, honestly. But that's about that. I'm not going to talk too many more stories. They involve whiskey and women. So I'm going to just pass it off to yeah, who hasn't won? Durgadas hasn't won. I'm going to pass off to Durgadas.
Hi there. So, wow, it's just turning into an autobiographical channel. That's quite interesting. I didn't expect that, but yeah, I guess I'm in a long line of people in an autistic family. My family is a group of kind of really wealthy, successful, super people who have a lot of different talents and are really good at different things. My aunt's one of the greatest newspaper designers that's ever lived. Yeah, my wife's got medals in the Olympics, in the Pan Am Games, and the Commonwealth Games. So I'm really just a geek who's been in technology since I was in 8th grade. And at a certain point, I developed a passion for bicycle riding, and I used to ride 25 to 40 hours a week. Was almost a professional cyclist at one time. And I started having spiritual experiences on my long 8 to 12 hour bike rides, and didn't know what that was about. So I eventually found myself in Silicon Valley looking for the brass ring. During the crash of '93 for Silicon Valley, I had an existential crisis, and over a long stretch of time, figured out that I needed to I went to Europe to try to become a pro bike racer in 1983. In 2005, the Silicon Valley crash sort of put me out of work at a startup, and in Silicon Valley, and I went and lived in a Hindu monastery for 2 different ones for about a period of 5 years. And this is in the terms of the spiral dynamics side of the thing. I was going through this sort of green period. My orange period was my Silicon Valley period. And then once I left the ashram and built this mud, clay, straw, cob yoga center, was kind of my yellow period. And I'm kind of moving into this turquoise period here, where I'm trying to get everything to connect. I uploaded a color explanation for the different spiral dynamics stuff, and I've been involved in crypto for an entire 3 months, maybe. So mostly motivated by talking to Sean about his company, and so when I came to the tech community, Sebnem was nice enough to make me feel at home and like I'd had something that I could contribute. And lo and behold, I actually do have something I can contribute. So that's really nice for me. So the Gravity Group is kind of I've founded a couple of different nonviolent communication groups, and we have a Spiral Dynamics group on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. PST. Which I've been attending for the last little while, and yeah, so I'm just trying to contribute where I can. I don't know who hasn't gone yet. Metaverde, I think maybe hasn't gone yet.
Hey, so this is like recap. I've had many lives too. I'm 2 classes away from a degree in art history. My emphasis was Bronze Age and Archaic Greek, which really surprised me because I thought I'd be into classical Greek, and it turned out that I wasn't at all. Well, all art, but whatever. I once owned a granddaughter of Seattle Slew, not as a racehorse, but after she was a racehorse. And I homeschooled in Alaska and raised goats and farmed there. So I went over a decade growing all my own meat. So I'm like pretty close to like production ends of feeding myself, you know, so like all of this like international turmoil doesn't particularly bother me. I could walk around the block and feed myself, so I'm not worried about any of that. And I got into crypto. This used to be actually on all my social media. I started buying Bitcoin with my wine money, and now here I am. My son had talked to me about Bitcoin when he was like 12, back when it was being verified on paper. But in 2017, one of my internet friends that I'd based, David Mondros, who I was the first person married on the Bitcoin blockchain. That was pretty cool. Had started a project. He said he was starting a project. This was just like on Facebook. You know, people say social media is a waste of time. That's how we got here, right? Started a project. He said he was starting a project. And I was like, I'd been doing magic, and I'd been doing magic for getting money. And I knew I needed to work remotely because I had kids. And I knew that, you know, it needed to be online because I was in Alaska. And I put out for 200,000. And I didn't have any idea what I was going to do. And I ended up in Trive.news, which was an ICO that was developing an app to crowd-swarm news verification. And it was actually a brilliant idea. It was just the baseline of people needed to make it work was literally going to be thousands of people. And it was like way too big in compass. And like so many ICO CEOs, he just went stark raving manic, right? I ended up getting fired because he thought he was friends with Roger Ver, and I wouldn't stop hashtagging Bcash, which drove Ver straight up a wall. But Ver was so rude to people. Anyway, see, this is why I need nonviolent communication. This is exactly the perfect thing for me. So I ended up getting divorced at the end of 2017 after being married with the guy for 21 years, and moved to Seattle from Alaska. And Seattle was interestingly very anti-crypto, which, you know, Microsoft, Google, blah, blah, blah. And I had to spend like the last of my Bitcoin to pay bills right before it crashed. So that was really cool. And I worked really hard trying to keep my head above water did a lot of like big tech catering, trying to keep my head above water and trying to pay off the marital debt. But that ship eventually sailed. You just can't do that catering in Seattle. And I got stuck with all of it because I was the one with the credit, right? And not community property. And over the summer, just because there was nothing else happening and we were getting that jacked unemployment, getting the unemployment plus up, I started looking, you know, like I'd been intermittent, like I went to TruffleCon in 2019 and met some people there. And I'd been trying to learn learn Solidity. And it had been in like Ivan on Tech's Academy, and had like done some Ethereum classes and stuff. And I've even got a game Fat Ass Ponies. It's like I haven't been able to look at for months. And I actually got over to OneHive through HoneySwap after getting the Uniswap airdrop. And I like to say, come for the honey, stay for the bees. And it was just so amazing that people were finally using DAOs to like build community instead of make money. And the whole premise of like running the governance experiments and the economics experiments and all of that. And I spent the summer getting kind of radicalized in Seattle. So the idea of dual power structures, which is what we're doing with our network of DAOs, really, really appealed to me. And I ended up, just because I'm so active in social media, I ended up SEO for Trive. So because I was so active in social media, I got kind of conscripted into Buzz on OneHive, and now Buzz is a DAO. And they've been really, really trying to like reach out and find other groups to get into, but it's so hard. There's so much stuff going on, right? And it's hard to decipher what's going on in each project exactly. And then there's so much interweb. But it's finally starting to make sense. You know, I got into OneHive at the end of October, and just after like being sidetracked with that, and then getting back to like looking at the different DAOs, and then being sidetracked with that, and then getting back to looking at the different DAOs. I think I'm getting a better handle on it, and it's really interesting because I was in a project, Open Source Ecology in Between, which is a software for hardware project by Marcin Jakubowski, who like they've got TED Talks, and it's actually like really taking off, and they've got a lot of good stuff going on. Too long to talk about here, but they have TED Talks. So I wasn't like I was completely out of the tech space, but they don't do any blockchain stuff. It's hardware, and hardware is great. It's just not my thing. So I've been working on trying to learn nonviolent communication, and it's like I finally was able to, because of the wonderful healthcare here, able to get counseling. And so like that's one of the things I've talked to my counselor about. I really need nonviolent communication because I go off on the people I really love, and it's like, or like I'll just like explode about something, and I'm like, like the whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, stop, and my little fingers are going on the keyboard, and I'm going, stop typing now. But so I'm really looking forward to this. I'm very, very excited. It's exactly what I need. And I love that it's Token Engineering Commons because this is where I'm trying to get in. And so it's wonderful. I love you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Meta.
Do I need to pass it? Who hasn't gone?
Yes, I just want to know what is your name?
My name? Meta Verde is how I say it, yes.
Meta Verde. Okay, I thought maybe it was okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's my crypto stage name.
Okay. I think Sebnem and Dahiti. Sebnem, the question is, what has brought you here? What has been your life experiences that has brought you to this moment?
Was that to me or Sebnem?
It was to Sebnem, but I think you can take it, Dahi.
Okay, right. Life experiences. I leave a lot of guessing. Kind of left home when I was 14. Kind of working streets until housing crisis last year. So gone from everywhere from shanty towns in North Africa to super rich to middle class to every spectrum of humanity. Traveled for 24 years without living in a house for more than a year, from the age of 14 upwards to very recently. So you can imagine that experience in life. You'd be very anti-establishment, very anti-hegemony, and that's basically what's brought me here. To me, it's an industrial revolution, which is a lot more pragmatically sensible than a lot of the other actions I've done in my life, which may have had good outcomes and stuff, but don't need to be kind of repeated. That's basically it. Yeah. The thing about this industrial revolution is to get to break it fixed, and then like there is a little rich person and we make money in the same time. But mainly that. And the DAO, when I first twigged I found the Ethereum yellow paper, in the door printed out. So whenever that came out, was 2015, I think. That's when the smart contracts twigged, then dropped to me, and I thought this is very, very important. But I haven't really had a chance with kids and stuff to go into it. So I'm mainly doing full stack web development and digital nomad type of freelancing online and in-house for the past 6 years, kind of, which has kept me away. So a few months ago, I decided one of my kids is 17, so he's close enough to being okay. So I've only got one to look after now. So I've decided screw making other people richer, and I'm just going to try and go into this full time. I'm getting more and more time as the weeks go by to put into it, which is good. But definitely that DAO, they see that the 2016 hack, it did break my heart, because I knew nobody's going to go near the idea again. And then when DeFi came out at the start of the year, I completely missed the boat, because I just presumed there was some, Wall Street package. It didn't twig me exactly what comp we're doing. MakerDAO, I've heard of before that, but
Hello, can you hear me now? Okay. So cool. Yes, conflict resolution or gravity. I mean, why I'm in token engineering or how I came here is like, you know, anyone else's rabbit hole journey. And I think that's something we need to figure out. But one aspect that came out over and over again is, you know, we think we're moving into the same direction. We think we see the same things, but at the same time, we use different, or we see different things without knowing. And I had a hard time to understand that. And my normal reaction in those situations are actually, you know, either scream really loudly at those people so that they understand me out of frustration and what have you, or just, you know, turn around and go. So and actually, when we started token engineering commons, again, it was all of us, you know, super motivated, all of us in this for longer, you know, and then finally we're starting off and we have defined our values and everything, and then the next thing is like deciding on how to move, right? How to go to common action, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, but I don't think that's what commons is. And we have these fundamental discussions, which are of course super frustrating. And then again, it was not the first time, so I knew it has also something to do with me and not just with this project, and so on and so forth. And it turns out it's everybody's, you know, it has got to do with worldviews and what have you. The fun thing is, out of nowhere, Fabian came into this group thanks to Jess and Jeff and and so on. And basically, first thing he shared as an intro, hi, I should say hi here, was about this, you know, worldviews and different paradigms and fundamental assumptions, and how people, if they are talking, if they are on different worldviews, if they have different perspectives, oftentimes they don't even are able to have a conflict because they're not communicating. So that was the first time I said, oh, okay, so there's a theory behind that. So and a couple of weeks later, going down into this and really learning a lot for myself as well, Durgadas jumped in, right? And Juan was building this group anyways, and I wasn't really participating, but definitely knew the right people doing the right things. And so I look forward very much to this evening. Sorry that I came late. But definitely this is something that one needs sorting, because even if you're by yourself making decisions, you are going to get into paradoxes and into conflict, and you need that as, you know, number one. If you just have one person, you need something like this, like a compass that helps you resolve your paradoxes. Especially if you're out there getting more and more into this complex, connected world. And you definitely need it if you are pulling something off like this token engineering commons, where we really know from the start, this doesn't even have one founding team that is going to, you know, embed some stories and then founding metaphors into it so people can live by, or what you could have earlier. But we are really doing this for real now. We really need these tools and methods, and we need to understand them. We need to adapt them, certainly, that it fits this diverse group. So look forward to see where we're at, and also how we can make this more, you know, maybe more functional, more easier to onboard, and so on and so forth. But certainly the training is the right way to go. So super psyched for what is coming. Who's next? I don't know.
I think that the only one missing is Griff.
I was kind of hoping you'd skip me, but fine. I'll do the roundup, and I'll do it as quickly as possible. Grew up and ended up going to high school. Blah blah blah. Got a chemical engineering degree, and started working for Amgen, a biopharmaceutical, doing crazy stuff like genetically engineered Chinese hamster ovary cells that produce human proteins, like wild things. I didn't like that, so I went to. I wanted to get into renewable energy, and was designing power plants, and they also looking at concentrated solar and these other things for this Canadian corporation. And then I realized, just like, corporate life is not for me. Layoffs came in 2008. I was like, please pick me. I don't have any kids. Let these other people stay, you know? And after that, I did all sorts of random stuff. Mostly, I pretty much had become an anarchist at that point. And so I did lots of random things. And eventually it was just like, you know what? I can't even stand the States anymore. And I just wanted to travel. So first I did some road tripping in the States. And then I figured that wasn't good enough. I went to Burning Man the first time. And then kind of went to South America, where I am now, actually, in Vilcabamba, Ecuador. That was about 9 years ago, and I haven't really stopped traveling since. Fully nomadic, and in fact, this year has been the slowest traveling by far, like in the last 8 years. And I got into crypto. I actually heard of crypto or Bitcoin when it was $5 through like a Trace Mayer video, but I couldn't figure out how to buy it without wiring money to Japan. And the whole point was to avoid banks. So I didn't end up buying any until it was like somewhere around $70 after in 2013. And I actually traded gold and silver for Bitcoin, which is kind of cool because I did not have a bank account at the time. And then later that year, while I was traveling, I kind of ran out of money. I was living off savings for a little bit, and went to Australia, and then was like, well, you know what? This isn't going to work out. I'm going to have to go sell out again to be a chemical engineer, but not in the States. I'll do it in Australia doing algae farms or something. And then Bitcoin went to the moon in late 2013, and I was like, what is this stuff? And I never stopped. I just can't get enough of it. The rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper. It's like the holographic universe or whatever, you just find more and more goodies. And and so I've been working in this space since then. I started in Ecuador as an evangelist until they made it illegal. They made crypto illegal here in 2015. I didn't want to end up in prison. So I decided to check out other places, and I got a master's degree in digital currencies because I didn't know how else to get in, and I'm actually one of the first 9 people to ever get any degree in digital currencies. So, and I have a great picture of me with a cap and the gown and Bitcoin underneath. It's really fun. Graduating. And then the week before I graduated, the DAO got hacked, actually. So I was working on Socket with the DAO and built the DAO with 4 other people. So it's kind of my claim to fame. It's the biggest failure in Ethereum history. But that's okay. I went on to do lots of other good work since then with the White Hat Group, saving some other major hacks and doing a lot of Ethereum security stuff in the background. That a lot of people don't get to see, so it's kind of fun to feel like a protector of Ethereum, And then, and came to the Common Stack through some work that Jeff did. I started Giveth after the DAO hack, and I really, really wanted something like this. I couldn't figure out how to build economies around nonprofits. I didn't have the words, but I knew the value was there, and I knew the coordination needed to happen. So we needed an economy, but I didn't know how to do it. And then token engineering eventually arose, and these ideas started to come. And eventually I saw a blog, I learned about bonding curves, and I saw a blog post that Jeff wrote, and was like, Jeff, let's do this. Let's just do it. What do you say? He's like, fuck yeah. So then we started the Aragon DAC at first, and then that was the first flock team that Aragon started to fund, besides Aragon 1. And then that transitioned to the Common Stack, and then Common Stack is supporting the creation of the TEC. So that's how we're here. Sorry, that was longer than I wanted. Thanks, Juan.
But cool to hear that. I hadn't heard your origin story.
Hey, I just want to say one real quick thing. This is really insane because totally the universe. I was one of those people. I was bought Ethereum and then I will open it. Hold on. Oh my God. There you go. And I was one of those people that didn't really know what I bought. I kind of was like, well, this seems cool. Decentralized. What is this, right? And then ooh, the DAO. And it was whoa, we're this is a government thing. We're in government now. Look what we're doing. I did this. I bought this thing. And then they got hacked. And I didn't understand that. And I would yell at my computer and throw stuff at the screen and yelling at Poloniex and the troll box. And then on Reddit, these guys are idiots. I was so mad. And now here I am full circle, and there's Griff Green. There he is. There he is. It's so funny. That is
I'm so looking forward to that survey to find the pattern that brings us all together.
Yeah, that was a little bit the purpose of the exercise, because sometimes we talk so much in the week about work, and sometimes we forget that the people behind the screen has a life with a lot of experiences that are different but are equally worth from each another one. and all of us are equally worth. And I think this is a good starting point for the gravity training, because when you talk to someone, you talk to all of his and her history at the same time. So it is very important to know who you are talking to when you talk to someone, in order to be able to fully understand that other person, to fully also understand where his thoughts come from, and how do they manage their feelings. So I think it's a really good starting point for this gravity work, to be able to understand each other as equals, and to humbly say that we all have had mistakes and good things, and that it doesn't matter if you bought Bitcoin in 2013, or if you just started in crypto 3 months ago. You are a person with feelings, and a person with different ideas, and a person who has a lot to offer in communities. Because one thing that I like about this community is that we recognize that if we do the things that one of us think, then we are going to have a bias. And that is why it's so important to have multiple points of view, and to realize that that reality is not an objective thing that we all see the same, but it's an interdependent interpretation that we all make of every moment. And the present moment, that the moment we are right now, summarizes our whole life. So it's not a coincidence that we are all gathered here, and that we all feel that there are a lot of things we can work on, and also that it is important to understand the relationships, and to understand humans, and to value human dignity by using technology. Because technology itself, it's not good or bad. What gives the value to technology is the use that we make. I always like to use this example, and it's like, if you have a screwdriver, you can fix a chair, or you can stab someone. It can become a weapon if you use it for bad. So the technologies that we are having right now needs us to make good use of them, to make them to the use of the humanity, and not only for profit making. That is the first thing that normally people see when something is new. Like, how can I profit from it? But what we are trying to see here is how can we make the humanity profit from it, and yes, using technology for humanity. I think that's the topic where I wanted to arrive after this question. And I loved everyone's answers, and I now feel that I know each one of you better, and that now when you talk, I can understand you better, and also that I can comprehend some of the feelings that you may feel, and some of the things that you might think because of your background. When you talk to someone, you always have to see its background, and that is one of the first things to understand communication, to see and to be able to place on the other shoes. So we are just with 10 minutes for this call, and I want to go really fast on the agenda topics that I previously made. And the first thing is to sync up on the spreadsheet. I will share my screen. here is the spreadsheet where you can like point yourself to the training. Here you can see the plan of study, the forum post. You can see the slides, and I made a type form so that you can each week address the 3 questions that we are going to deliver to evaluate the course. So yes, they are not like explicit here, but the idea is that when you see question number 1, we will put the questions in the Discord. So it is the same type form for the whole course. And I want to promote the resources for the next session that is in charge of Regis, of Durgadas, and these are some of the study material that we would like you to see, to review, to study before the first session. It is a guide.
I'm currently editing that too.
Yes, and he has to make some editing. So we will like be sending you and posting you these readings. I suggest that you don't need to read the full documents, but to have like a quick glance of everything, because we're also going to like go a little bit of on the readings in the course, and the questions are really related to the readings. Do you have something to say, Regis?
Oh, I was just saying that I'm currently editing that because the 2-hour presentation I did yesterday, as well as the hour-long question period, I had added there are 33 slides with a ton of information, and I'll be modifying some of those things to include some of the things I found there. And I'd like to talk to you in particular to see what you found to be the kind of best out of that group of things that we were talking about. I will hopefully have approved and edited a little bit the overall the video for it, but I just got it like 5 minutes ago from Sean, so I just want to have a look at that and make sure things are on point there. But I will be adding a whole bunch more stuff.
Cool. You have a video recording of a presentation?
Yeah, I just want to have a quick look at it, and
perfect.
Yeah, I think I gave you the I already uploaded the PowerPoint, so everyone can look at that. But there's a ton more detail that I sort of talked about through the whole thing.
Perfect.
And some questions that were answered in the middle as well, and some detail that other participants brought to the picture. So.
Yes, I loved your presentation of yesterday, and I think maybe that presentation in itself, it's a whole topic, and maybe here it's something much practical. So it's like and practices for nonviolent communication, and maybe we can like go into some deeper things, but in a very shallow way. Like if you want to research more on this, you can like invite people to your meetings that you do on Wednesdays.
Sure.
And yeah, I think that for this first session, it's very like practical.
Mm-hmm.
And I will see. I'm gonna see here what else. Okay, so I promoted these resources, and maybe Regis is add some other ones, but I am sure that this one, my stroke of insight, is going to come. And also, I loved this video of Orange J. Soffer about "Say What You Mean: A Mindful Approach of Nonviolent Communication." Mm-hmm. I loved it. I mean, when I was hearing it, it was a really, really good video. And if there are lectures that are like hard and long, then we will also add like a summary link to that lecture, so you can like study all this really fast.
Can I just give a quick summary about all of these links and what they all mean?
Okay.
To the group?
Keep in mind that we have 3 minutes.
It's fine, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing that I would love to share with you is also that POAPS for these sessions. And the idea of the POAPS is to be able to certify the people that passes this training so that they can become mediators or gravitons inside their organizations. Here is the POAPS of each session. And yeah, I am really happy because I think this will be we are going to certify people in blockchain of nonviolent communication. If I am wrong, correct me, but this is something that really excites me. And that I hope that the people that go after this course then can help on the cultural builds of their own organizations.
And how are you going to dish these POAPs out? So, like, if people just show up, do they get the POAP, or do they have to do the homework?
That is a really good question, because I was thinking that the POAP was for attendance, and maybe the answers were for like a grade that is something more for our like management of how did people or perform in the course. And to get them is really easy. There's a Discord bot where I send you the password, and then like it sends you the POAP immediately. So it's really easy to do it. And well, to finish, I am going to like make a really brief presentation of what are going to be the 8 sessions. The first session is nonviolent communication and spiral dynamics. The second session is theories of conflict, anti-fragility, and conflict management. The third session is BATNA, best alternative to negotiated agreement, negotiations and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms. You can see these slides. I put a lot of like effort to do it, and I would love you to like if you like see them and review them. In the fourth session, this is going to be amazing. We are going to have practical cases, and I downloaded some practical cases from the program of negotiation of Harvard Law School. So we have these 2 cases that are for to be addressed by pairs. One is power screen case, that is a case of a hacker and a businessman that bought some work from the hacker, but then like the hacker made work apart from the businessman, and then the businessman feels like he wasn't fair. And this is another one is a little bit more easy for if you like would love to have low complexity, and it's like on the settlement of a house. The 5th session is going to be led by Livia, and she's going to talk us about her work in soft governance. Why did she notice the importance of working in soft governance in DAOs, and how has she like learned from reading and studying and applying Ostrom principles? And the 6th and 7th sessions are going to deep dive on on what is the gravity process. And in the 8th session, we will have a collective role play that is a very fun activity that I made once in the university, and that I feel that can be really good for this community and for the community building. And the role of the gravity member is also of the Graviton is also to be a community builder. So it's also good to have like kind of rituals and practices to build community. I think that that the question that we made today is to build a community, to know ourselves better, to become friends more than only co-workers. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for your
Thanks,
time.
Juan.